So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So this is going to be my limit break expansion tier list for legends, and basically this is going to be a resource for people, especially newcomers, people without much experience using these gold keys to expand their legends, on what are the best ones to aim for. I'll just reveal the categories as we go on, but I do say to you that at least half of the legends in the game, you really don't need to consider using a key on them. You basically just get stats and you get -1 CD reduction. That's going to be the big pile we look at. But some old legends get significant CD reduction. Some old legends even get additional captain ability buffs, especially if you already have the level limit break broken. Level limit broken, I should say. And basically, as we go higher to all legends that get level limit break buffs, they're basically only high value if you actually have them fully maxed out level 5. There are very few exceptions to that. We'll also be looking at newer legends who are very good to limit break expand just for the extra stats or for the reduced CD. And yeah, these are just my opinions. It is the opinions of some that you should just limit break expand every single Super Sugofest legend, but I'm not on that train. We'll talk a bit about that soon enough. But yeah, time to reveal the first category, and there's only one unit in this category. It's going to be the no limit break expansion tier, or as I like to call it, the KFL tier. And yeah, I do got these little markers. We can see what unit I'm talking about. Maybe we should change color on it. Don't know if that's possible. I guess I look for next time. I think that will do for this time. But yeah, KFL, the only global only legend. He's never got anything special. He just has normal limit break and a good support. He's never got PvP abilities or a key or level limit break. So yeah, he's the only one here and will probably remain that. Moving on, we have the no CD reduction tier, and the legends in this tier, when you spend a key on them, the only thing you get is extra stats. You don't even get -1 CD, which obviously sucks. I've actually limit break expanded a few of these legends in the past. I can point them out. Lufisaur, for example, amazing on debut. Spending a key of them was pretty much a no-brainer back then. Change Crew as well. Best legend when they debuted, and they were for quite some time. My first ever key I spent on V1 Snake Man, regretted that quite a bit. He was in the first batch of limit break expansions, but yeah, I said I regretted that. My most regretted limit break expansion personally is Sugar. Basically gains nothing from the key. It was basically a hype investment for me because Sugar was so unique and good on release that I just spent the key without thinking about it, and as soon as I thought about it, I regretted it. There will be some here, like for example, Pudding with -1 CD would be an easy key, but she gains nothing, so that's not going to happen, I guess. So yeah, you should definitely not spend a key on any of these units. A few of these have level limit break, for example, the Sabo here. We also have the Anol here. But basically, these don't get any buffs from using a gold key. There are some other legends, or there's at least one other legend that don't get CD reduction, like V1 Kizaru. But he's not here because he actually gets a captain ability buff, and I've saved those for later on the list. That said, let's go to the big tier here. I'm not going to spend that much time though. Last time I did a tier list, I talked 30 minutes, and I spent a lot of time on the lower stuff. And when I got to the higher stuff, I was tired, so I'm going to try and avoid that this time. This big tier we're going to now is the -1 CD, but there's really no value in spending a key for these legends. And yeah, we're not going to go one by one here. We can talk about something that might raise eyebrows potentially. Maybe the most controversial here is indeed the Super Sugo Fest exclusive Nami, by many considered the best legend in the game. So you might say, why wouldn't I spend a key on Nami? And basically, Nami's biggest strength is that she enables the team to do more damage through Super Tandem and her Captain ability and special deck combination. It's not that you do more damage by hitting with Nami. In general, Super Tandem units are not the best investments stat-wise, since they hit early to enable Super Tandem for the rest, so they do a lot of damage. And it's not like Nami has a hard time getting ready with her special. She's not like a speedrun captain or anything. If she's used as that, you use her against paralysis content, she gets a free special basically. So there's really no reason for the -1 CD either for her. So if you don't need the stats, you don't need the -1 CD, why spend a key? So I don't recommend that. I can't say I follow this letter by rule, like I invested in Ace, for example, but that's usually basically my shooter bias. Like if there is a potential shooter speedrunner that benefits from -1 CD, I usually don't think too much, but I just spend that key. Another one that people might disagree with is the Super Tandem Kaido, but it's basically the same reasoning there, little value. I actually spent a key on Kaido, but that was more for PvP experimentation, so it's probably also one of my most regretted keys. He's not that great in PvP. He could be, but right now he's not. There are some old legends here, like close to Kaido here, we have V1 Brook, and you'd think he should be higher, but he actually doesn't gain too much from a key. You have to remember this distinction between level limit break and limit break expansion. Yes, Brook gets a great level limit break, but that key doesn't make him better. It's just -1 CD, he doesn't get a buffed captain ability or anything. So in general, not the best unit to use a key on. There are others here that get very little, like this old Luffy or Garp or Doffy. Men used a key on Doffy in the past for PvP, but you have to remember that using a key for PvP might seem good, but the meta keeps changing. Like, I put some PvP units in the stat tier that is to come. I could have put someone like Kaido there, but I'm a bit iffy about that because I do feel like Kaido is starting to show his age, and we might be very close to him seeing a power creep or such. He's already not the most outstanding unit. He's not what makes Quick good. He's just still one of the best options for Quick and Driven. So it didn't feel like that. So I don't know if there's any more stuff. In general, you should really try and avoid using keys on these stuff that only gets -1 CD. I'm not saying you should never do it, like Law, for example. I used a key, but that was for Brook. Like, I used a key for the, not Brook, but for the Buggy Grand Voyage. I used a key on Law for that. I used one on Bo. I used one on this Brook. Like, I wasted so many keys for that content, just to experiment and make new teams and such. I used a key on Zoro before for a blitz, just to make a team work, and then that team didn't end up being the best anyway. So I'm definitely guilty of wasting some gold keys, but you have to remember I've invested like 100 gold keys in total, so I have a bit of a leeway. I'm mostly focusing on people who maybe use only 1 gold key per month, for example. Then you really have to prioritize how to use it. But yeah, let's leave this tier behind, and we move on to now when we really can start talking about units that could get a gold key. So there's a bit more things to talk about there. And this tier is called -1 CD, potential value for higher stats. So these are units you could use to get higher stats on to benefit in different ways. This will mainly consist of units with selfish specials that depend on themselves doing a lot of damage and thus higher stats being helpful. It will be units mainly good in PvP, like Ace versus Akainu here. You mainly give the key because Akainu will probably be close to timeless in PvP, and having a lot of stats is pretty dope there. Another big thing here is the final tap. Basically every final tap legend is here, and obviously if you do hit with the final tap, you really want to do a lot of damage. There's actually not a lot of units I have here for PvP because I only put like the best of the best. So versus Akainu, as I've said, Roger versus Whitebeard is both PvP and final tap, so are very safe investment. Moria, purely PvP. I've not spent one myself, but I've thought about doing it a lot of times. Odin, purely PvP. Roger, both PvP, but is also his great support. You can definitely invest a key for some specific support, but as long as it's more than just the support. Yamato PvP and the final tap. And then we have Dex Luffy, Super Talon Luffy, which is also mainly PvP you'd use a key for. Other than that, we have a ton of final taps. Yamato Ace, Kid, also PvP, I guess. The Wives, we have this Law, not the best though. Same for Luffy, not the best, but pretty cool with the new 6+. Robin, I'd also say not the most valuable. I have a Rainbow Robin, but I've not keyed her. Uta, I'd say a pretty good investment to give a key to. The problem with Uta is that you have 3 units to use, but I recommend heavily investing in one and then just change form depending on what you want. Do you want to do a speedrun team with the quick Uta, or do you want to use the 6+ int Uta in PvP? Then just swap around. That's what I do. Killer, him and Hawkins, pretty new. Not the best final tap, but I included them anyway. But I'll probably never give them a key personally. And Yamato, final tap, and PvP. Then some units that want to do a lot of damage themselves, like Stampede Luffy. He and Blackbeard pretty similar. Both benefit a lot from a key for both the CD and the stats. This Luffy is also final tap, of course. Bon Clay is interesting since he can change to any colors in that way. You can always hit very big damage with him. So in that way, a key is not bad at all. He also has pretty low CD, so the key can help him become ready, even when not boosted. Germa, Bullet have rainbow damage. So when you have rainbow damage, it's pretty cool to do a lot of damage yourself. And I think that's the big ones. Yep. So I wouldn't say these are the priorities, but also in a way, this is the way many people like to use their gold keys. They like to use it for PvP. They like to use it for Super Boss Kizuna, so to say. And if you want to do that, then that's fine, but I'm not the person to recommend how to spend keys, but I do want to say be careful with how you spend the gold keys for the new and Chinese legend. Not all of them are worth. Some are definitely worth. Some are not worth. I will try in the future to say in my wits if I think this is a good unit for a gold key or not. I've not really done that before, but I can try and start doing that. But yeah, let's go on to the next tier, which is also a -1 CD tier. But the value here is mainly the -1 CD. So some units benefit extra from that. We'll see if I talk about every unit here. We can start with Carrot and Wanda. -1 CD makes a big deal here. Firstly, because they are speedrun captains, the -1 CD helps them get ready even sooner. But even if you use their main special with Limit Break with a key, Carrot will after using a special be able to use their special again. So they can effectively do -4 CD in one turn. I'd say giving them a key is basically a must. Very good value. Some other really good values here. Perospero, I've not given one yet, but his kit is broken, and you don't even need the best special really in many cases. And yeah, he's just super reliable. The lower CD you have, you can also put the Mr. 3 support. Kizaru also pretty good value. Not as much today though, maybe. I think Kid Luffy is really cool. He also has a final tap. And with the key is like just 10 CD, that's really low. That's also why Apu is here, since he actually has a really low CD, like really low CD with good specials. Key just means you can reliably use them very early, and even if they're not boosted, stuff like that. We have some speedrun caps like Kid, both good for PvP in this case, and also to speedrun. Kid is a very safe key investment, I'd say. Chopper in general, still really good candidate for a key. Also getting pretty good in PvP on defense, if you care about that. You know what I feel about Lucky Rube and Beckman. Best legend of last year, in my opinion. Speedrun captain, and all speedrun captains benefit from a key. Some other speedrun captains like Cat and Dog. Not a must to key, but if you have keyed them, they have a lot better synergy in content like Arena, in helping each other use their special multiple times in one run. Here is mostly here because she has such a unique good kit, so you will use her a lot, and since you use her a lot, it's good to have her special ready, but it's very high CD, so getting it lower is good. Some here are just here for their high CD but very big value, like Hiyori. The Straw has incredible high CD but very good special. Luffy Crew is similar if you use them as sub, which is the best way to use them, to be honest. Same with the Shirahoshi and Manchuris, very unique units but very high CD. And kind of same for Yamato and Kaido. Basically no CD reduction for them, very high CD. Yamato, you want to use her basically every Kizuna super boss for that damage reduction attack boost, even if not boosted. You can try and make it work with a key. And Kaido also has a final tap, so it's a pretty good investment on them. And yeah, don't think we have to talk about them all. Marco, similarly, if you like to speedrun and get a lot of experience, investing in him is good. And Bonnie just has a really good special, can also reduce CD. So I feel like that's all I have to say about these. Because now we're going to start move into the more interesting ones, where we have older legends getting additional buffs from level limit break. Some get actual buffs to their captain ability, and some just get insane CD reduction, which basically makes them a new unit. But we're going to start with units who gets a big CD reduction, but still not really a big priority to give a key for that. So basically big CD reduction, but low value. And I guess from now on, we'll try and talk about every unit. Luffy Ace, still mediocre. Wait for the 6+. Doesn't matter if they have lower CD if you will never use them. Whitebeard, sure, he gets like -2 CD, but that just takes him to like 15 CD, and his special is not the best either. Kaido also gets like -2 CD. His stats is actually more beneficial for the limit break expansion, but we want Kaido's getting old, let's be real. Maybe if he gets a 6+ sometime, and his special is not that great anyway. Boa gets a decent buff with level limit break to her special and like -2 or 3 CD, but Boa's like no support, so without that you won't really use her special at all, I feel like. Similarly from Marco, decent buff, but you won't ever really use that special. Fuji, we want Fuji, very good buff to his captain ability, but you get that special for free at the start of the quest. As a sub, you need to install a lot for him, he has very high CD, and even then, doesn't really have a must-have special. It's not the best value. And Shanks, decent, but he also needs a 6+. If he does, I'd say he's a safe key investment as well. So not too many there. Most seed reductions are pretty good value. But now we'll focus a bit on captain buffs. And there are basically 3 tiers of captain buffs. I will start with the first one, which is the mediocre captain buff. So these buffs, these units do get, let's hope this is the same as before. So they do get some buffs to their captain ability, but it's not really significant enough to justify. Lucci, I haven't keyed myself. He's really good for support with attack, but he has one of the worst level limit break, to be honest. It's cool on paper, but not really useful with very low CD to get attack boost for just powerhouse. And the captain ability buff is just a bit higher attack and like a speedrun. Jack is similar. You never really want to use him as captain. Also gets a big CD reduction, but I wouldn't say he's a big priority to limit break expand for his special, even if it's pretty decent now. In many cases, you might as well just use Kizuna X Drake, basically. Big Mom, yeah, she needs a 6+. Not much else to say. Magellan got a big buff. You can use him with any units you want now, but his poison doesn't bypass full immunity, which basically makes him worthless. Sadly, decent sub though. Silver Mask has the most meme captain ability buff. It's basically nothing. But with a 6+, they might actually make it relevant. So we'll see when Soba gets a 6+ eventually. Nami just does a bit more damage in her captain with a 6+, with a key, I should say. This is a limit break expansion tier list anyway. So I forgot about this. So yeah, we've gone through these. Now we're at Nami. But yeah, just some extra damage. Similar for Lucci. He gets a bit extra seed reduction as well, I think. But shooters have so many good speedrun captains, there's basically no reason to use Lucci as captain. Sabo, like a lot of these are just very uninspired level limit breaks. So even if they get a small buff with a key, it doesn't change anything. And as I said before, Kizaru doesn't even get seed reduction, and he's mostly a sub anyway. So I honestly don't feel like talking about these. They have very boring level limit breaks. So instead, we move on to the next tier, which is the niche captain buff. So these I could actually consider using a key on. And I've keyed basically all of these, I think. Ace becomes a very high attack shooter speedrun captain. It's a bit similar to Lucci, but Ace at least makes slots beneficial. And he has that ability to give a burn conditional as well, which is still pretty unique in the game. Nami is basically just here for the all-long Grand Voyage. If not for that, this Nami will be pretty mediocre. Sure, some extra column orbs, but basically she doesn't have to just use Dex units, but only Dex units get extra matching orbs, so it's pretty boring, I'd say. We can talk about Miyagi and Sunny at the same time. Obviously, only do this if you care about chain captain fun, but the buffs are great if you like chain captains because you don't have to run like Mono Slasher for Mihawk or Mono Fighter for Sanji. So it really opens it up, and the reduced CD is also nice. Corazon adds some paralysis and attack down, resistance to his captain, basically to match his sailor, which also reduces paralysis at least. Other than that, you shouldn't use a key on him for the captain, really. Pretty close to being mediocre, and the CD reduction is not too important for him either, since he starts with his special ready anyway, thanks to his potential ability. Cavendish is pretty fun, makes a lot of orbs matching, and he himself will hit incredibly hard, which is his design. But another unit that is pretty close to mediocre, Sengoku, like if I could decide, I put him higher, but yeah, I like him a lot. He's actually really good with the -3 CD, and with a key he becomes a 5.5 times attack captain, which is pretty crazy. A is just great in general. He doesn't get much from the key though, but it is higher attack, and like he resists both special reroll and special bind. So I'd say having him as best as possible is worth it. Mediocre with a key will let him get the delay through full immunity easier, and he does some more damage, but overall not the most important. Who is pretty niche for like wave clears, having high HP and such, and being a speed uncapped, but he also doesn't get any CD reduction, which is pretty much a bummer. Also close to mediocre, I'd say. Robin has the cool ability of extending orb boosts, or well, attack boost at 6+, orb boost at 6-star, so that's pretty unique, but probably won't see a lot of play, which is why it's niche. Buggy makes beating content with Buggy viable, so if you like that, he's an option, but not the most important. And we talked about Sanji. So with that, we move on to the big seed reduction. All of these units get big seed reductions. And I'm starting to lose my voice again. So we're not going to talk too much about these. All of these units on the big seed reduction get massive reductions to their CD. And also have pretty good specials and such. Like, don't really need to talk about Cat Dog, do we? Like, they are amazing, and getting -2 CD for them just makes them even better. Also opens up the sub potential. Is there anything else noteworthy here? Like, I'd say all of these are good investments for a key. Some are lower priority, like Sabo, Zoro, Mihawk, Jinbei, Whitebeard, Zephyr, I guess also. Okay, you know, like those are lower priority, still pretty decent investments, but they are not that universally useful or used a lot. Kind of like Shanks, who goes to like 9 or Cedar or something with a super good special, very good. Mediocre as well. Kusan, great for PvP as well. Him and Akino see a lot of use now in normal content as well after their 6+. Como, of course, very good to be able to provide 1 orbs now as well as good specials. And yeah, Carrot also very good value, I'd say. So I think we'll leave it at that. So I can talk a bit about those who get legit good captain ability buffs. So those are the ones I recommend the most to spend a key on, you could say. But these big C reduction ones, a lot of them are definitely also worth considering. But yeah, good captain buffs. And yeah, some of the units here are here because they gain the ability to auto-launch their special when you fulfill a condition. And getting a special for free is obviously very useful. Rayleigh gets this ability. Barto gets this ability, as well as this Boa. So that's very unique to be able to get free specials. So that just opens up more options when team building. You don't have to care about their CD or such. You know, if I do this, I'll get their special for free. Some will also have effects that activate on certain stages. Like one of the most valued units here are Kusan. You just need him to be limit break expanded and level 120 basically, and you get his best captain ability, which gives you a free attack and orb boost stage 3 2 times. Super good. Jinbei gives you free orbs when you get to stage 3, and with limit break expansion is also stage 5. Basically gives you his special guaranteed, and his special is actually pretty good with the buffs. Still a bit of a meme, but you never know. Like, he gets free orb manip and orb slots stage 3 and 5. That's very cool. Similarly, Jerma, when you get to stage 3, reduces CD a lot for the crew. So, and he's already a speedrun captain. I say German, but I mean judge, of course. Then we have some utility reduction users like Doffy removes the spear, Shiki does as well. Sabu resists special reverse, and if you still run the 6-star instead, you can resist special bind. And Tesoro also has the ability to resist some debuffs. I don't remember now. I think it's special bind and special reverse a bit, so that's super cool. And Frankie also added the spear resistance when in his tank form. I actually think it's pretty iffy to get that, the spear resistance. I need to test it a bit, but my Frankie isn't max yet. But of course, Frankie is available in general to Limerick Expand just for his ability to go bypass damage limiter and such. Let's talk about the remaining ones as well. Ray League, True Bias, best Shane Captain with the buff. We might get more Shane-focused legends in the future, and Ray League can hybrid well with them, and you get all of his utility and such, which is nice. And Blackbeard also very good in PvP with extra stats, and also getting a modern captain ability, but also having the ability to bypass defensive effects. So very useful unit to have. But yeah, that's my Limerick expansion tier list. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and also suggestions for future tier lists. I'll update this in the future, maybe in 9 to 12 months. We'll see. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.